Shakti, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
How
Sir,
are you
am I
doing,
audible, sir?
Shakti? Yes, you are very well.
Thank
Shakti,
you, sir.
how are you
Sir,
doing?
I'm doing well, sir. I'm happy to be here in NPA, sir.
Okay. Shakti, provide a brief introduction of yourself and highlight the values that you hold very dear in life.
Sir, my name is Shakti Singh Arya, and I belong to a village called Didwadi, which is in Panipat district, Haryana. I started my schooling from my village and did my 12th from Government Model Sanskriti School, Panipat, GT Road, Panipat.
Mm,
And then I joined St. Stephen's College, Delhi for my graduation. Sir,
mm,
post that I did my MA in Rule Development and Governance from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Hyderabad.
mm,
And sir, thereafter, sir, I briefly worked with Andhra Pradesh government in a
mm,
vision management unit. It was kind of
mm,
a think tank, sir. Sir,
mm,
post that I started preparing for civil services exam, and meanwhile I
mm,
qualified, sir, Central Armed Police Forces exam, and I got
mm,
selected into Central Industrial Security Force (CISF). Sir,
mm,
post that, sir, I continued my preparation, and meanwhile the training, sir, I got selected for Indian Revenue Service, in which
mm,
I took extraordinary leave and continued
mm,
my preparation. And sir,
mm,
last year, sir, I got allocated to Indian Police Service, and now
mm.
I have joined Indian the National Police Academy, sir. So this is about my professional career journey, sir. Sir, in
Okay.
terms of sir, sir, in terms of the values which I hold dear or define me are, sir, one one thing is that one should be humble,
Mm,
not only in services but as a person.
mm,
So one should not be boasting of oneself wherever,
mm,
because that itself put other people at a disadvantage or kind of intimidate others. So that is one,
mm,
sir. Sir, other is one should one should be one should always put the earnest efforts. So the intent
mm,
matters more to me than the outcome. So
mm,
suppose I'm playing a
mm,
sports. So it's not that I always try to win, but winning and losing is a different thing. But
mm.
if my team members are putting in their full effort, I'll be more than happy even if we lose. Instead
Okay.
of if we win and people were not putting their effort, that is second, sir.
Okay.
Sir, third value is, sir, that we should always try to be inclusive in our approach. So
Mm.
be it at home or be it anywhere, we should take everyone along. So these are the values which I hold dear, sir, as a person.
Okay. Very nice to hear that, Shakti. Shakti, from whatever you have said so far, what I can understand is you have had a good share of experience in various services and in various capacities. You are already into an all India service. Then why do you want to switch? What is the motivation?
Yes, sir. Sir, Indian Police Service is a very prestigious service, and I am proud and privileged at the same time humble to be part of this prestigious service, sir. Mainly because it provides me the opportunity to achieve the same objective which IAS does. Both are
Mm,
to ensure or further the cause of justice, that is
mm,
helping people. So that to that extent, this service meets my demand, sir. So the only
mm,
reason which I am aspiring for IAS is the path
mm,
to that goal, the same goal which both the service provide. That path is, sir, somehow my natural inclination based on my experiences, education, is
mm,
towards, or I'm inclined towards administrative work or developmental work.
mm,
Whereas police is a job role or a nature of work is such where we are helping in ensuring retributive justice. So that is
mm,
also very important, which I am committed to. But somehow my inclination is towards developmental work or furthering
mm,
distributive justice. So that is
mm.
the reason, sir, I am aspiring for IAS. Otherwise, I'm very
Okay.
proud and happy to be in this service, sir.
Mm. While you are training, what are the areas that you have seen where the police administration needs improvement?
Sir, I would admit that I am very new to training. It's just been 1.5 weeks. And
Mm,
sir, I would want you to clarify for me, please, that whether you are asking improvement in terms of that in the training or in the
overall
working
police
of the police?
administration?
Sir, in my brief experience, what I have felt is the two areas what I feel, sir, where we need to improve. Sir, one is our interface with the common man or common people.
Mm.
We common people do not feel at ease while interacting with the police. So the perception of police has to change. It has to become more friendlier. And second is, sir, within the department, we need to accommodate women more in not only in numbers, but also we have to accept that they are capable of doing everything which a man can do. So these two areas which I have personally felt or I feel that I will be very serious about, sir, and working on.
Good. Shakti, you are from Panipat.
Yes, sir.
And this place has a historical significance.
Yes, sir.
Many history-changing battles have taken place in Panipat. Why only in Panipat and not anywhere else?
Sir, there are multiple reasons as to why these historically significant battles took place in Panipat. Sir, these are as follows, sir. One of the primary reason is its geographical location, which is just north of Delhi, and all the important attacks took place from northwestern parts of the country. And the Grand Trek Road, which is quite old, provided a direct route. So Panipat acted as a gateway to Delhi, and the fight for throne of Delhi were fought at Panipat. So this is one reason, sir. Sir, secondly, Panipat is a plain land, and nearby there is a presence of Yamuna River. So battles used to go for long, and for their survival, food and water was essential. So again, the geographical land, the plain area provided supported the armies for the long time. So these are two reasons. And sir, I think there were battles in all other parts of also, like in Kurukshetra we have Mahabharata, in Thane sir we had battles. So it is just that these important or significant battles got highlighted, which happened to take place in Panipat. So these are the reasons, in my opinion, sir.
Okay. Shakti, do a SWOT analysis of Haryana.
Sir, if you begin by strengths, sir, I would say in terms of its economic growth or per capita income, it is at 5th place. So that is a strength. Though we need improvement in that, we'll come to that, sir. So that is one strength, sir. Sir, another is in terms of the health of people, or in terms of nutritional intake. Somehow, because of the availability of good food or quality infrastructure, we are producing sports persons. So in sports arena, it is having strength. Sir, in terms of agriculture produce, we are also among the front runners. So these are the strengths. Sir, in terms of the weaknesses, some of the social indicators, sir, we are lacking, especially when it comes to the place of women in society. We are not as equitable society as some of our southern states like Kerala or Tamil Nadu. That is one area, sir, we need improvement. Sir, another reason is there is increasing number of people who are stuck in agriculture, leading to disguised unemployment. So that is rural distress, causing rural distress. That is one area we need to work upon. Sir, these are two areas which I feel are weaknesses. Sir, in terms of the opportunity, I would say that we need to develop more of Gurugram and Faridabad across the state. We lie on a GT road between Chandigarh and Delhi. So this has to be replicated to other areas as well. So we need more equitable regional growth across the state. And in terms of the threats, sir, some of the policy decisions which might be not driven by economic logic, rather based on populist measures, such as, sir, this law of granting reservation to local people in the industry, can be counterproductive in economic rationale. So this is one threat, sir. Second, if we do not work enough on industrial sector growth, so the rural distress or disguised unemployment can take away the advantage Haryana is having at the moment. So we need to skill people and ensure that we reap the demographic dividend we are having right now. And this is it, sir.
Very good. Shakti,
Thank you, sir.
you must be aware that nowadays there is a culture which is springing up in Indian politics, and that is the culture of freebie politics. What is your take on it, and where do you see this thing going on in future?
Sir, freebies based on economic rationale or logic are counterproductive in the long run, because they do not create any productive assets in the economy, or they hamper the growth in the long term. But in certain areas, sir, they may be required. For example, sir, Delhi government has decided to give free ride to women in buses. So that is a very good move, sir. It might seem as a freebie, but if we see number of women coming out of homes, that is very less. So if they are incentivized to come out, until and unless that is done, so that may not happen. So targeted help to vulnerable sections can be productive, but it should not be stressed too far that only for the logic of vote bank politics, it should not be done. So that is my view, sir.
Good. Have you heard about the World Competitive Index?
I've heard about it, sir.
Do you know India's current position as per that index?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to rightly recall at the moment.
Okay. Are you aware about the PM Mitra Parks?
Sorry, sir, I am not aware about it right now, sir.
Okay. Suppose, Shakti, we want to revive the textile sector. And for that, we have to devise a strategy which will consist of 5 Fs. And I am giving you 3 Fs. You have to find out the other 2. Farm, fiber, factory.
Sir, in my understanding, sir, one F can be funding, and other F can be foreign trade, sir.
Good. Have you heard about this thing called elimination of hierarchies and silos? Have you come across this thing?
Yes, sir, I have heard about it, sir.
In context of what?
Sir, in terms of hierarchy, elimination of hierarchy, I've heard multiple times in terms of the working of government departments. For example, police itself, sir, where there is a lot of hierarchy. And silos, elimination of silos, sir, I came across while I was studying in Tata Institute of Social Sciences, sir. So there we realized, or we understood that if we want to work on removal of malnutrition or elimination of malnutrition, we have to 3 departments have, or many more departments have to work in tandem. So which primarily includes, sir, one is that the Department of Ministry of Health. Then, sir, another is Ministry of Sanitation and Hygiene, Water Sanitation and Hygiene. And sir, third is the food supply mechanism through PDS and midday meals, as well as ICDS. So these 3 departments, until and unless they work together, so malnutrition cannot be solved, because it is not just a problem of lack of availability of food or lack of sanitation. Every factor has to come in, has to be resolved parallelly. So this is how. So this is where I have heard it, sir.
Okay, Shakti, imagine that you have got into the Indian Administrative Services, and now you are at the helm of the district administration in one of the remote areas of the country. The task that has been assigned to you is to promote creativity and critical thinking among the masses in that district. Discuss 3 strategies.
Sir, could you kindly repeat, because...
Okay. I'm saying that...
Sir, there was some interruption. Sorry.
Okay. Am I audible to you now, Shakti?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry for the interruption, sir. I just couldn't heard what I am supposed to promote. I am posted in a remote district.
Okay. You have to promote critical thinking and creativity. Discuss 3 strategies through which you can do. Just name the strategies, no need of explaining them.
Sir, one, I would introduce competitions in schools and colleges. That will be one, sir. Sir, second will be, sir, having open hackathons and events like this at district level. That will be open to all. And third will be, sir, sensitizing the teachers of schools and colleges, training them so that their pedagogy changes, and in the long run it results into the critical thinking. And
Shakti, I think you misheard the question. I asked how you can promote critical thinking and creativity among the masses.
Sorry, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. So for masses to have critical thinking, sir, we have to have them thinking. So what I will do is, sir, that I'll involve the Gram Panchayats, and through some basic concepts which will be easily understandable to the common people, through those games or through those quizzes or some kind of events that will be organized. That will be one, sir. Sir, second will be roping in the self-help groups which are available. Through that, I will reach the women of village and far-flung areas, sir. Okay. Sir, third will be through effective communication. I will ask the teachers of schools and colleges to have an extensive outreach in the villages and areas and work for it, sir.
Okay. Shakti, can you recall an incident from your life when your ethics were challenged?
Sir, it's a very minor incident, but that had led me to learn something. Sir, when I was the president of my college in St. Stephen's, so I came from Haryana, and I was I was not realizing that I was having this biases. So, I had to decide to whom I should allot the work of management of catering and everything. So generally, I was of the opinion that it should be allotted to a male secretary, because they will do it better. But my friends convinced me to give it to lady secretaries or the female members, and I did that. At that time, I was thinking that I don't know whether this decision is right. And when they did it superbly, like they organized the event so well, so this changed my opinion about this thing, that everyone is equal and everyone is capable. So this was one incident, sir, where I got to learn that I was having a bias, and I eliminated it, sir.
Good to hear that. Thank you, Shakti.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Shakti, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Shakti. Shakti, you belong to Panipat, right? Sure. Recently, there was a person from the defense services who got a lot of publicity, who belonged to Panipat. Can you name the person? Whom am I referring to?
Sorry, sir, it has not come to my notice, sir, so I'm not able to recall, sir.
Okay. If I can give you a clue, it had something to do with sports.
Oh, thank you, sir. It is our own Neeraj Chopra, sir, who won Olympic gold, and he is part of the army, sir.
Okay, good. Your date of birth happens to be 20th of April, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 20th of April. Do you share your birthday with any people that you are actually particularly fond of?
Sir, I never ventured into this, sir, so I'm not aware of it, sir.
Okay. You've been in the IPS, now you're in training for the last just about 2 weeks or so, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before that, you were in the CISF for about a year and a half.
Yes, sir. I was there, but I had taken an extraordinary leave, sir. So I did the training only for a few months.
Okay. You're not served in the CISF also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And thereafter, you also joined the, you worked as the Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax.
Yes, sir. That also I joined and I took the extraordinary leave and continued my preparation, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. Let me come down straight to your DAF, where you said you were part of the Sanbha Mission of the Indian Army in Jammu and Kashmir. Tell me what was the objective of this mission?
Sir, Sadbhavana Mission is a civic action program of Indian Army. It is to win the hearts and minds of people of Jammu and Kashmir. So basically, it works to improve the relationship between army and the local people of Kashmir Valley, because there have been so much violence or disruptions. So it aims to work through helping establish some educational institutions, schools, conduct medical camps, do some counseling in terms of education, and organize visits of Kashmiri people to mainland India and mainland Indians to Kashmir so that they get to interact and know each other. This is the program, sir.
Okay. Tell me one thing, the lessons that you learned during your service, during your participation in the Sadbhavana mission, how can you use the lessons learned from that in the performance of your civil services duty?
Sir, one lesson which I learned during the visit, sir, was that until unless we have the goodwill of people, so the development work cannot go ahead. So army, when it started reaching people and it is having these kind of programs, is able to manage things better. So if I'm posted, sir, in some conflict areas or where there is lack of acceptance of government machinery, so the first thing is to establish a communication link or establish trust of administration among people. That will be my first lesson which I'll be taking from my
Okay,
journey. Second,
supposing,
coordination between different departments.
yeah,
Sir,
go ahead, complete your sentence.
sir, the second lesson was that if anything has to be successful, there must be coordination among different agencies of the government, sir. So in Kashmir, sir, there is army, there is CRPF, there is local police, and then there is local administration. So until unless they all work together, we cannot achieve the desired objectives of our constitution. At times, sir, there are conflicts, not at the ground level, but at the higher levels. There is fight to take credit. This is which we were briefed by the uh, different departments we visited. So that is another thing, sir, that while we are working in any department, we are part of the same government and we are working to achieve the same objective. So we should set aside our departmental differences and work as a team. This is the second lesson I learned, sir.
Good. Tell me, supposing if you are posted in a district as a district collector, and then the people approach you with the request that there is a particular stretch of road which needs to be repaired on priority, and if that stretch of road, say about a kilometer long stretch of road, if it is improved, it will, if it is repaired, will improve their life drastically. If the funds are not being made available to you, and you are also in agreement with the people that yes, that particular road is required, what would you do to get the road made?
Sir, I would look at the resources available, sir. There can be multiple ways which it can be done, sir. Sir, one is I would talk to the local representatives, sir. So MPs are having their funds. If they are willing to contribute, that can be one source of funding, sir. Sir, second can be CSR funding, which companies are mandated 2% of their net profits of previous 3 years, sir. So that can be another area or funding we can which can be roped in. Sir, third can be crowdfunding, where people not maybe of that area but of entire state may be willing to build the road, as was done during in Nagaland, sir. There is an officer by the name Mr. Armstrong Peme, who happens to be my college senior, sir. So he crowdfunded the whole initiative and built the road without the funding from the government. So these are some of the areas I will look at, sir.
Good. You said you are also fond of jogging and amateur sports. What do you mean by amateur sports?
Sir, sports which is played not for commercial reasons or at professional level, but for your own fitness and for the joy of sports, playing
So which
sports.
are the,
So I usually play many sports, sir. I play cricket, sir. I play badminton. I play volleyball also, and occasionally, sir, football. These are the sports I usually play.
okay, supposing if you are given an option to promote one particular sport in the village where you are posted, the district where you are posted, which is the sport that you would like to encourage?
Sir, I would encourage volleyball, sir, because one, it is a team sports, so many people can be accommodated in it. Sir, secondly, it is a low capital intensive sports where we only need a ball and a net, and not much infrastructure is required. So this is the sports, sir, I would choose, which I have seen also, sir, in my village. Many people play, and in schools also, sir, I have seen it.
Okay. Can you name two different types of volleyball that are played? Two different games of volleyball.
Sir, one is normal volleyball, sir. One is beach volleyball, sir. This is these two which I am aware of, sir.
Okay, and what is the difference between the two?
Sir, I am not much aware about the technical aspects, but one is played in hard surface, sir. Another one is played in the sand. The ground is sand, sir.
Okay. Any idea about the size, the dimensions of the court?
Sorry, sir, I am not really aware as of now, sir.
Any idea about the number of players on each team in beach volleyball and volleyball?
Sir, in regular volleyball, sir, it's 6 players on each side, sir. In beach volleyball, sir, I am not aware, sir. I have not noticed it, sir.
Any idea about the size of the ball, the dimensions of the ball?
Sorry, sir, at present I am not able to recollect, sir.
Okay, tell me, in volleyball, what is a libero?
Sorry, sir, I have not come across this term, sir.
Okay, you're also fond of jogging and running. Jogging, you said.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what is the difference between jogging and running?
Sir, the fundamental difference is about the pace. The jogging is at a slow pace, while running is the pace is higher. So there are different uh, criterias, or people define it. The different benchmarks people keep, that above this it is called running, or below this it is called jogging. So that varies, sir. But the fundamental difference is about the pace of the running, sir.
Okay, tell me, what are the advantages of jogging over running?
Sir, what I have experienced is, sir, jogging is more sustainable. Like, it is less injury prone, and it builds our uh, uh, capacity for breathing, because it's usually done for long times, and it is also less energy intensive. So if we do it for a long time, it is gradual, it burns fat, and it helps us in staying fitter as compared to running. Running is kind of impact sport, which might lead to injuries, and running is high energy intensity event. So people tend to do it for some time, but they can't continue it usually. So that is the advantage that I feel that jogging is having.
Okay, so one more thing, Shakti, you said Sadbhavna, you were part of the Sadbhavna mission. There is a similar step taken by the uh, uh, by the army for the youth in Ladakh area. Any idea what am I talking about?
Sir, I'm not particularly aware about it, sir, about the Ladakh area, sir.
Okay, one last question which I would want to know. If you said you are very fond of volleyball, uh, one lesson that you can learn from volleyball which no other game teaches you.
Sir, if I can think is that uh, until and unless, sir, in this sport, sir, defense and offense work at the same time in the uh, uh, same one ball, sir, one service. So, which is not the case in other games. Like in cricket, either you will be hitting at a time or you will be defending. But in volleyball, sir, every volleyball first you have to defend, then you have to raise, and at the same time you have to attack. So offense and defense go hand in hand, sir, in volleyball. This is what I can think of, sir.
Good. Thank you, Shakti.
Thank you, sir.
Shakti, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Shakti, your profile suggests that you are shifting your goalpost continuously. How would you justify that? You first did your BSc from St. Stephen's. Then you were selected for CISF, then IRS, now IPS. Now you want to go for IAS. Why is that?
Sir, I'll explain. Sir, I joined St. Stephen's College and joined as for BSc program, sir. So I come from a very normal background, sir, in which if somebody scores well in 10th or 12th, which I did, sir. So we usually go for science as a stream. And while my stay at St. Stephen's College, sir, I came across many people and worked in many different clubs and societies. And I realized that my inclination towards social sciences and my interest that how I can achieve more or achieve more satisfaction if I work in social sector. So for humanities, I then joined Tata Institute of Social Sciences, sir, Hyderabad, where I learned nuances of or how different people or different organizations are having their interests and working for people. So there I broadened my understanding of social concepts. Sir, since then I have been preparing for IAS, and meanwhile whatever job came my way, I accepted that, sir, because I don't have the luxury of choosing just any one service which I want. So I am here to work for my country, sir, in whatever capacity I am allotted to. But my aim has always been IAS, and which I am still striving for, sir.
Okay. I was going through your service preference, and in service preference, there is some anomaly, I think. You have still filled IRS as your second and third preference. Why is that?
Sir, before this service, before IPS, I was into IRS, and when I got IPS, I had not filled anything below IPS. Sir, IPS is such a service that in the training there are chances of an injury which might prevent me from completing my training. In that case, sir, I will be rendered jobless. So for that, to prevent such a tragedy to happen, that after getting 3 or 4 jobs, I'll be having no job at hand, I have filled other options, sir, as a
So it is your backup option.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it has happened, sir, in reality also. So
okay. Your DEF mentions that you were part of social audit at ICDS in Bihar.
yes, sir.
Tell me
Yes,
what
sir.
you found. What were the lacunas?
Sir, we went from our college and we were a team of like 20 people. So what we found in our findings was that there was 50%, more than 50%, actually 54% pilferage that in the take-home ration, sir. So people, what was being claimed on paper, they only received 46% of the said amount. So that was one major finding, sir. So second was the preschool education, which is supposed to happen at Anganwadis, was not of good quality at all, because we asked the children there, so they were not able to answer anything, and the infrastructure of Anganwadi was also not very good. So another important finding or the observation was that it was controlled by the strong people in the villages, like mostly the headmen or mostly the jamidars, the big jamidars. They owned these Anganwadis. And another observation was that when social audit was conducted, so prior to 3 months of that, people were getting their rations well, because they were aware that this audit will be conducted. So before audit was conducted, prior to 3 months, it was functioning well, but before that there were lacunas. So these were the major.
So you found that there was 54% pilferage going on.
Yes, sir.
Did you complain to appropriate authority regarding that?
Yes, sir. So at the end of the social audit, there was Jan Sunwai, where the district magistrate and all the officials came, and people gave their testimony, and then those who were responsible for it were made to promise in public that they will be paying it from their the recoveries will be done. So the action was initiated by the district magistrate against all the people involved in it. So this happened during the Jan Sunwai, sir. You were part of it.
Okay, good. You were also part of Student Union Society. You were president.
Yes, sir. I was the president of Student Union Society.
Recently, there is a debate going on where a particular section of people, politicians and society, believes that colleges are for education and not for politics. I think you differ on that. Please elaborate.
Sir, my opinion is that in an enlightened society where knowledge should prevail, there should be the colleges should be open spaces, open for learning, as well as for opinions of all sorts which are not counter to the national interest. There has to be a balance, sir. So in our college, sir, in St. Stephen's College, so we do not allow the political parties to come in and interfere in the elections. It is purely and purely by the students of the college and for the students of welfare of the students. So we have to strike a balance, sir, that when it comes to ideas, opinions, so all ideas and opinions should be welcomed, provided they are not counter or against our national interest. And when it comes to functioning of college, it should not come at the expense of classes or any kind of academic curriculum or work. So that is my view, sir. So St. Stephen's College is a model, I would say, sir, in that sense, that it has the elections every year and it is working well, but without any money power, muscle power, or time wastage of classes of that sort. So that is the model I think we can adopt, sir.
Okay. Your father is in Indian Post, right?
Yes, sir. He is the postmaster of my village, sir.
Indian Post is continuously making losses. Suggest me any 2 steps which you would take if given authority to improve the financial situation.
Sir, one thing, if I am given the chance, like at the highest level, if that can be possible, sir, so I would link the online delivery services like this Flipkart, Amazon, and Myntra, these services to post offices, because in rural areas these companies are not providing services and post offices are having huge outreach. So from there they can earn revenues and the accessibility of these services will increase in rural areas. That is one area, sir, which I think should be done. Sir, second is about this bank which has come up, integrating post offices to the core banking system, because they have more accessibility as compared to the banks and people have trust in the post offices. So that has to be taken up aggressively, and based on that there should be some minimal charges which can make the post offices profitable in the future, sir. These are the 2 areas, sir, I would see the future of post office.
Good. In zonal preference, you you haven't opted for Haryana. You haven't opted for your home cadre. Why is that?
Sir, Haryana has very few seats, and there is very less chances of getting that. So I have taken a pragmatic call of preferring some other state and not wasting my opportunity to. And any state is Haryana or nearby state is similar to Haryana, so there is no fundamental difference between the two. So that is the reason.
What if you get posting in, or if you are allotted to Assam and Meghalaya? They are
Yes,
not
sir. I will be.
Haryana?
Yes, sir. They are not near, so then the equation changes. But I am more than happy to serve in Assam and Meghalaya also, sir. All parts are same, but one region is having one kind of features. So if we come talk about North India, then all are same. If we talk about Northeast, then that is one type. If we talk about South India, that is like one kind. So I'm ready to serve anywhere, sir, and I'll be more than happy to serve for the country, sir, given that
Okay.
opportunity.
Okay. One last question from my side.
Sir.
In the current wake of international affairs going on, especially the Russia-Ukraine war, it is high time for India to take POK back. What do you think?
Sir, I believe at present it will not be opportune for India to take any such measure because of following reasons, sir. Sir, one, Pakistan and Pakistan is a nuclear weapon state, and also it is ruled by military, where it is not ruled by civilian government. So that can lead to loss of lives on our part. Sir, second, we are just recovering from our the impact of COVID-19 on our economy. So it is time for us to focus on our economic growth and grow. Thirdly, sir, Pakistan is having nexus with China, and we are having a very tense situation at the northern border with China. So fighting a two-front war will not be a feasible idea at the moment, which can take us many decades back. So maybe this is not
India capable of handling two-front war?
Sir, I believe that we are having enough capability in terms of army and also the nuclear triad that we can secure our interests, but it will take us back to our in terms of our economic losses or even the manpower. So it is not a feasible idea at the moment, but maybe when the opportunity arises, we must strive for taking our part of the Kashmir back from illegal occupation of Pakistan.
Oh, thank you.
See, somehow I am not convinced about your service allocation. Can you tell me what was the service point, service number you have allocated to IPS in last year?
Sir, last year I had allocated number 1 to IS and number 2 to IPS, and below that I had not filled any service. So, sir, I was allocated to IPS. So, sir, in case some injury happens this year, and I'm not able to complete my training because of that injury, so then I will be not allocated to any service, sir. So to prevent that kind of,
let's assume that if you join the service and you will go to the academy, and we hope that we hope that you may not get any injury, but hypothetically you have some minor injury. There are the injuries that have some time major injury, minor injury. Okay, so what is the course of action?
Sir, if there is minor injury and I'm able to recover even in a year or two, I'll be continuing with Indian Police Service. But just in case I'm not able to complete my training at any cost, then I'll think of any alternatives.
Okay, let's think about another service. If there is a problem about the person during the service or during the probation, what is the further course of action in any other service? Say, for example, IAS, Indian Administrative Service.
Sir, I could not understand like what kind of problems, sir, in terms of injury.
See, if the person who is the able person, maybe how in the future person becomes a disabled person, whether the ministry or the concerned line ministry will ask him to will remove him or her from the service or not?
Sir, as per my knowledge, sir, the person will not be removed, sir.
So the Ministry of Home Affairs will remove you?
Yes, sir. If one is not able to complete the training, in the prescribed time period, the person cannot be allocated to IPS and
Who,
conferred.
who who
IPS
will
cannot be
judge?
conferred.
Who will judge this?
Sir, I think the competent authority will judge, sir.
On what basis?
Sir, if one is not able to complete training, sir, then it's a matter of fact, and I believe, sir, in that case, it will be clear that one is not able to clear.
No, you don't understand
Training
my
for-
question. You don't understand my question. Okay, on what
Sorry,
basis, on what basis the competent authority will judge you?
I'm unable to
Okay,
understand.
tell me, is there any provision if someone cannot complete the training, he or she may get the another choice of posting? Is there any provision? Are you aware about any provision?
Sir, I'm not aware about it, but posting can only be given, sir, once after completion of training. Since until the training has not been completed, before that, I'm not aware about it, sir, if it is there or not, sir.
If say for someone you were in a IRS, Indian Revenue Service, without appearing in exam, whether you can transfer your service or not?
Sir, if because of some reason, if I'm not able to continue in IRS, maybe the service less in preference to IRS may be allocated, sir, but not above.
Are you
This is what I
sure?
understand, sir.
Are you sure?
Sir, I might be wrong, sir. I'm not sure, sir, but this is what my understanding is, sir.
Okay. See, I am not convinced about your answers. So you have to justify your position about opting the some reasons. Okay, let's discuss on another point.
Sir. Sir, if you could allow me, I would like to add one example, sir. Sir,
Okay.
in case of Mr. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, in case of Mr. Mudit Jain, he joined. This happened. He joined IPS in after his first attempt only. So he got injured, and meanwhile he gave exam again. So that time it was possible to opt for IPS. He again opted for IPS, and he got IPS in the second time also. But his injury, he could not recover from the injury, so he could not complete his training. He kept on extending his EOL, and until he wrote the exam again in 2019, that was his fifth attempt. Once in between, he could not qualify prelims. So only that time he was allocated to IRS. That time he didn't opt for IPS, and then he changed the service. Otherwise, he has written a blog in which he has clearly written that otherwise he would have had to leave the service. So
Okay.
that is the case.
This version you did not understand. That's my point. That's the point. See, if he did not complete the training to change the service, he applied.
Yes, sir.
You
He wrote
understand
the
what
exam again, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, that's the point. So if you opt the IRS and you could not complete the exam on the basis of 2021, you will not be selected for, or maybe you will not be allowed to change your service. To change the services, you have to appear the exam. That's simple rule. There is no need to put IRS and to justify that. Okay, because there will be some injury during my training, then I will be transferred from IPS to IRS. No, it will not happen.
Sir, that will not be from transfer, but that will be based on this year's exam. Sir, suppose this year I get into IRS, and meanwhile I get such an injury that I can't complete IPS, I will join IRS, sir. That is the whole logic behind my service preferences, sir. That will not be a transfer. That will be a fresh exam, fresh allocation, and fresh joining, sir.
So that's my question. That's my question.
Sir.
If you join the service, okay, after joining the service, whether you can be allowed to transfer the one service to another.
No, sir, they will not be. That will not be allowed. But it will provide me some 6 months time from August onwards. So that will be almost my training time, sir. So it's a kind of insurance for me.
See, so in the safe side, you should not opt for the IPS. You should opt for Because see,
Sir-
you have applied for the Indian Administrative Service. Okay, you are in Indian Revenue Service. You could go ahead and apply for the IAS. Don't bother about the IPS. You could do it.
No, sir, I like Indian police service, and I am proud of being part of this service.
But you are afraid of
Sir?
training.
So, sir, I'm not afraid of training. That is, if I am afraid, I
Injury.
wouldn't have joined, sir. I am here and I am not afraid, sir.
So you are
So
afraid about
that
the
is a
injury.
preventive measure, sir, which I have taken, sir.
But
Sir,
that's
that
my
I am not afraid.
no, that's my question. That's my question. Whether
Sir.
your preventive measure it's applicable is as per the any prescribed guideline, prescribed act, or any other things or not. If you have information, please provide.
Sir, if I am allocated to IRS this year, sir,
Hmm.
based on this year's exam, and meanwhile I get injured, sir. So there will be till some time till my joining letter comes. I'll be having that offer in hand that I can join IRS. Not that I will be transferred from IPS to IRS. It will not be service continuity. It will be a fresh allocation and fresh recruitment based on the fresh exam. So that option I am exercising, sir, because I do not want to end up being jobless after securing 3-4 jobs, especially because of the kind of family I come from. So it is not a luxury for me to just leave these services whenever and based on my whims and fancies, sir. So I have to secure my interest, and this is what precisely I'm doing, sir.
Yes, you are entitled to secure your interest. My view is that whether you have read any guideline, any other thing, okay, don't see about the only about the blog. I am asking you whether you have seen the Ministry of DOPT's circular or any other thing. Whether
Sir,
are
I've
you
not
aware?
seen that, sir.
Whether are you aware about the what is the future course of action if the trainee officer got injured during the training period?
Sir, they will be sent on extraordinary leave of 1 year, and they will be asked to recover from injury and return next year for the training if they are able to recover.
Oh yeah, so they are
That is
entitled for the job. They are entitled for job. Okay.
Yes, sir. Only if they are able to recover from the injury, sir.
It's
If they are
not
not able to recover,
so they can terminate you.
yes, sir.
What
Yes,
is
sir.
the principle of natural justice?
Sir, principle of natural justice that one should not be a judge in their own case, and nobody should be denied hearing in the case in which the action is being taken or any action is taken against the person. So everyone should get a hearing, sir.
So obviously, without your hearing, no one can terminate you.
Sure.
And it is not your fault if you got injured during training. They can provide you the desk job if you want.
I'm not aware about these provisions, sir. So based on what
No, there is no provision. There is no provision. We are discussing. We are discussing. Okay, let's move another aspect. Your hobby is jogging.
Yes, sir.
What are the benefits of jogging?
Sir, jogging helps in keeping ourselves physically fit, sir. Sir, secondly, it also helps in terms of mental health because it reduces stress. So we can work more productively if we continuously jog, and it also prevents diseases which are lifestyle diseases, sir, like sugar and kind of these diseases, sir, heart diseases. Because
if you are a collector, what will you action you do to promote the jogging among the people?
Sir, I can begin with school, sir, that the PT period will be made compulsory in all the schools and should be promoted. Sir, secondly, I would construct better roads or better pathways, maybe beautify them a little in the villages also, because nowadays there is a culture of increased people participation, or people are taking care of their health. So if we put lighting and all on nearby roads of villages, so people can go for jogging, sir, this can be another step. Sir, third, there can be some events or organization, some event can be organized sir, I have met some a nutritionist here in NPA, sir. So she was 58 years old, and she was telling that they are a group of people who continuously jog, and they organize events also
Okay.
for their groups. So this can be done, sir.
Thank you.
You see me now?
Yes, sir.
One final question, Shakti, before we end this interaction. Earlier,
Sure.
you mentioned that the relations between the police and the common man are rather strained. If suppose you have to create a slogan through which we can improve that relationship, prepare that slogan.
Sir, that for me that will be service with smile.
Thank you, Shakti. Your interview is over. We will reconnect with you in some time for your feedback.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Shakti, well, nothing much to say.
Sure.
You have almost covered all the bases very appropriately. Your answers were very good. You articulated your thoughts very well, and you
you, sir.
presented your points in a nice fashion. If there is some room of improvement, then what I found was some of your answers were long,
Okay, sir.
right? And especially those questions where I asked you or other members asked you, highlight 3 points, showcase 3 strategies. Then you went into the depth of one strategy. That's why in the last phase, I just said, just name them,
Sure.
right? So at times what happens, Shakti, is when you give such long answers, people lose track of what actually they were asking, or they lose interest. And the moment they lose interest, your chances dwindle. So that is
Right.
one thing. At times I felt that you started thinking without asking for permission. So there were inordinate delays before you started. So it created a kind of confusion whether you are going to answer or you're going to say no, or you have not understood the question. So whenever you go on a thinking trail, just say that, sir, can I have few minutes? That would do a world of good, right? And
Okay, sir.
otherwise you were very polite, decent, you are very well read, and obviously you have qualified the examination once, so you know the art of making it. One thing, Shakti, that could have been avoided was when Kashmir was being discussed, you said that to connect it to mainland India. First, geographically, this is wrong,
Sir.
right? And secondly, also, it would have been better if you said that connecting Kashmir to the rest of India.
Right, sir.
It gave an impression as if Kashmir is not part of India, right?
Right, sir.
So that could be taken in the wrong light. Apart from it, the questions which were raised in and around the choice of service, we understand very well your point. The idea was to put you in stress in that part and to see that how do you respond, right? So because the whole idea is to check your personality. So
Sure.
in that place, what I would suggest you is prepare the answers in such a way that they do not generate counter questions. Be very swift, right? And what you were saying, you have read that blog.
Okay.
You have so many things in mind because it's your life. You have done that preparation. You know that if something bad happens to me, you are just making plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, right? And that's why I can see that you have also opted for even group B services, because that's the fourth plan.
Yes, sir.
That it's not necessary that you end up with the high ranks every year.
Yes, sir.
Maybe that was the idea, right?
Yes, sir.
So there is an assumption that IRS will be allocated to. Well, our best wishes are that nothing of that sort happens. But this is
Yes, sir.
the decision of a rational person, that he or she should be prepared for all kinds of exigencies or circumstances, right? So just try to polish that answer. Your answer is right, but you have to polish it and you have to present it so that there are no avenues of counter question left. Apart
sir.
from
I'll do
it, Shakti, I feel that almost the communication skill is good. You have good intellectual depth, and then you have balance of opinion. just the choice of some words, like mainland, you try to go for better words, try to shorten your answers. Like if it's a 20-second question, the answer should not be beyond a minute. Right?
Sure.
3 times of the question would be fine. And the shorter you answer, greater kind of questions could be asked. And thus, more aspects of your personality will open up.
Yes, sir.
Right? So, based on today's performance, Shakti, the board has awarded you 185. Right?
Thank you, sir.
But if you work on these, especially these things went against you. The long answers and that word, mainland.
Sorry.
Right?
Sir.
Try to avoid such kind of words. If you work on these, especially, then definitely you are a 200 plus candidate.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have one question, sir. If you
Yes, please go
like
ahead.
to ask.
Please
Sir,
go ahead.
while the honorable member was asking me about the service preferences and he was asking counter questions, was I appearing a little arrogant in my like the way I body language or the tone or
No, it
things
was
I
not
answering?
arrogance, but it was bordering on the territory of stubbornness.
Yes, sir.
And there is a difference
I-
between arrogance and stubbornness.
Sir. So
That's why
I
I said
also
that
felt to
polish
some
that.
extent that I should have,
Hmm.
yes, sir.
Hmm.
I should
Just
have
withdraw.
a little avoided that. Like,
Just
sir.
withdraw, right? Just withdraw. Say, sir, I have just exercised my preferences. And why to bring this angle in?
Yes, sir.
That if I get injured, what are the policies? I read a blog. Just say, sir, I have already in IPS. But if there is an injury during my training, and if I fail to recover from that injury, I'll not be eligible for IPS. And you can also give further justification to that. I was going through your service preferences. You have not opted for DANIPS,
Yes, sir.
right? So that further adds credence to what you're trying to convey. You say that,
Right.
and don't go for IRS. Even if the question is on IRS, you say, I have filled other services for
Yes,
which
sir.
I will be eligible even if I am injured and I failed to recover.
Yes, sir.
Just say this, right? Rather than I read a blog and if this happens and that happens. And it was all about IPS versus IRS kind of thing. Rather than that is not what you thought while you were filling, right? But it came across like that.
Okay, sir.
I hope you are getting my point.
Yes, sir. I'll
Right,
keep that
Shakti?
in mind, sir.
And if you work on these areas, definitely, Shakti, you are a bright prospect and all our best wishes with you. And I have a hunch that you are making it and you're making it big time this year. So
Thank you,
all
sir.
the best. When is your interview scheduled here?
Sir, it's on 13th of April, sir.
Okay. So anyhow, you're prepared. Don't worry. Right? Just
Thank
avoid
you, sir.
confrontations, reduce
Yes,
the
sir.
length of the answers, and choose your words very carefully.